An ideal team player on an adventure racing team. Someone who's willing to suffer, that goes without saying, and be in discomfort for a long time. But I think the ideal person is someone who's willing to put the interests of the team first. Adventure racing is such a unique sport, such a crazy sport. It's hard to describe to people who haven't heard of it before, because it's a bit of everything and can be so different in every way. But the sport usually involves multiple disciplines: mountain biking, running, kayaking, rafting, whatever the organisers try to throw into the race.
And you have to travel together, maintaining a small amount of distance between the team members, so you move as a unit.
There's 4 people in the team. You must have one person from the opposite gender.
One of the key elements is finding your way around the course. So they have a set of controls or waypoints that you have to go past.
You're not allowed modern navigational tools, GPS or anything sort of electronic.
The adventure side, I think, is where the real passion comes in. You just get to do some amazing things. You go places and you put yourself through challenges that you're just not expecting.
The clock never stops, day and night. So adventure racing, you're staying up all night, dealing with sleep deprivation.
The going gets tough after 4 to 6 hours. They're racing for 4, 5, 6 days. So you can imagine after 6 hours, they start to deal with pain and suffering. There's a difference between pain and suffering, With the adventure events, you need to carry on when the pain sets in. And when the pain is there for long enough, it becomes suffering, because there's no end in sight. And so how you cope with that is quite essential.
People are really drawn to the difficulty and drawn to the challenge and the hardness. And there's something just appealing about hearing that this is the hardest sport you could do, and you just want to give it a go.
A few years ago, I kind of stumbled upon the sport of adventure racing. I did a short 8-hour race with a buddy from work. That kind of sparked in me an interest in sport. Adventure racing is kind of the perfect environment to study teams. It's a small group of people with complementary skills, working together in a difficult environment, pursuing a common goal. It's like the definition of what a team is. And I think what we're able to do when we watch an adventure racing team is see in kind of a compressed environment what happens when team members say, this is about the team, about the goal, I'm here for you before I'm here for me, and I'm willing to sacrifice and do what it takes to get us across the finish line, even if that means bearing your burden for a while and trusting that you're gonna bear mine later. And if there's any team that I've seen exemplify this fully, it's the New Zealand adventure racing team. The team that is captained by Nathan Fave has been unbelievably successful over the years. And they've won back-to-back-to-back world championships. That's unprecedented. And something must be special about that group. So we decided to travel to the 2018 Adventure Racing World Championships to find out if this team could win their 5th world title in a row. Finally made it to Reunion Island. We got through Paris, made it through all our flights. We landed here at the Adventure Racing World Championships, where teams are coming to compete with one another in the sport of adventure racing.
Yeah, I'm Nathan Avaya. I'm from New Zealand. I'm team captain of the New Zealand Adventure Racing team, which is sponsored by Avaya, a global technology company. I'm here at the World Adventure Racing Championships 2018 in Reunion Island. It's November, it's pretty warm. We're about 2 days out from race start. I'm here with my team, Chris Forne, Stu Lynch and Fleur Pawsey. And we're looking forward to the adventure ahead.
Reunion Island is a volcanic island in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Madagascar. You have coastal terrain, lava flows from volcanic activity, and then you have steep, high volcanic mountains in the interior of the island. Heat, massive elevation gain. Reunion Island is kind of a perfect spot for an adventure race.
This is the first time that the four of us have actually raced together as one team. Chris, Stu and I have done a lot of racing together over the years. Fleur's just joined us for this race. She's done a lot of racing before and she's a good friend of ours from New Zealand. This is the first time that she would have raced with us three in this team. I hadn't raced in the World Champs for 2 years, and I guess you can choose whether you want to see those things as things to be worried about or see them as things to be quite excited about. It just makes you sort of rise to that added challenge and going, right, we're not the full-powered team that we once have been before. We've got to be really smart about how we do this.
The last couple of years we've had a few changes with team members. We had a sort of consistent 3 years before that. It's a great team to race for, even with the team changes, because even with the new members coming in, the people with great experience coming into a team of people that know how to race together. We are performance driven. You can't come into a race as sort of defending champions and not have your eye on that goal a bit. And I think the challenge for us is probably to try and put that to one side.
We do come here to win races, but there's things that are equally important, if not more important for us. The process is very important, how we get there, how we race as a team, how we communicate with each other. I mean, those things are probably of higher importance.
I just want to see number 1, number 2, number 3, please, until the goal.
Part of the fun of the adventure racing is that team aspect to the race, and I think there is a difference between having 4 people just doing their own thing versus a team of 4 that are actually working together as a team. And if you have a team that's you kind of feel a little bit of a bond with, then it's excitement to do well as that team, and I guess you get a lot more satisfaction, I suppose.
There's always any number of teams who are good and have talented, fit, strong athletes, but then there are some teams that kind of rise above that and they're really good. The great teams, they enjoy being together as part of a team and they want to be there and they're able to get the most out of one another and enjoy the process of the race. I think that really makes a difference. So they seem to like racing together and to respect each other and appreciate each other and have a common goal of wanting to do this thing together. And it's not necessarily about winning the race, it's about getting on well and performing well and achieving those sort of team goals that you've established beforehand.
Our team has been very motivated to create an environment that we can really enjoy. There's a period in my life where I would go to a race and winning the race was the only thing that mattered. That's all I wanted. But I think over the years, your perspective changes and you grow and mature and you realise that there's much more important things in life than sort of racing.
No, that's good.
Who are you running in?
I said to Jacob, at road game you always run to the finish just in case someone has the same amount of points. So we're sprinting into the finish.
Oh, nice one.
Down that hill way, you're sliding down that hill.
So someone sort of said to me, who's that coming down there? I said, that's my daughter Jessie. And they're like, which one? I go, the one that just fell over.
Nathan always has made time for the family. That's been the most important thing, I think, in keeping us together. So when he is home, he always makes time for the family, so we always make time for adventures. And adventures are so rich in relationships that you have such a bond, such a connection because of the experiences we have together. He's incredibly calm and supportive, a really good encourager. Often his team don't have kids, and he does, and I think that brings a whole another element of organisation and management that adds to what he can bring into the team. So the racing suits him really well. He loves putting everything together, you know, the strategy and the composure and the calmness and bringing the team together. That's his strength. He's definitely getting older though. He's finally saying he's got a few aches and pains, and I'm like, I've had those for years. I'm useless at this. Oh, careful.
I don't really like this way of doing it.
No. There we go. Right.
It's one of those jobs I find it easier to do by myself. My father's from Samoa, a very keen sportsman, so he always encouraged us kids to play sport. My mother was a Kiwi. She had Scottish parents, but she grew up in New Zealand. I look back through my childhood and my parents would be the first ones to say that, you know, I was an explorer and an adventurer. You know, through my teenage years, that sort of presented a series of challenges for me. I was hanging out, I was part of a team, smoked cigarettes for a number of years, I was involved in drugs for a number of years. You know, we'd go out on these adventures and cause mischief and things. You know, looking back, I mean, I was never a bad kid, but I was just adventurous and I was just in the wrong playground, I guess you could say. I was sent to a sort of a New Zealand Corrections or Youth at Risk program. That was a major turning point for me in my life because it was an outdoor adventure-based program. That was when I was like, right, I know what I want to do now. I want to work in the outdoors. I must have been, I don't know, 26 or 27 when I did my first adventure race, you know, probably 10 years after this kind of quite significant change in direction in my life. You know, I turned up at the start of an adventure race, you know, highly skilled, highly capable, with almost this perfect adventure racing skill set without actually trying to go out and get it.
He is the most experienced adventure racer out there, so he can draw on those experiences to guide the team. He is an excellent communicator. The other thing is that he's not didactic, you know, it's very much a team approach. It won't be like, we're doing this. Like, what do you guys think? I think this, what do you guys think?
He's just so calm and appears to be relaxed, and that just transfers to the whole team because it is a 5, 6, 7 day race or whatever. You can't afford to be having too many high heart rate moments, and you know, it does just affect the whole team as well. So I think having that very calm, relaxed approach, yeah, it's so important for the team.
This is a mountain called the Piton de Nez. It's named after a famous explorer who was actually in this volcano when it erupted, and when it finished, it landed him on top, and he said, Piton de Nez, and they've named it after that ever since. The race starts in 22 minutes and 40 seconds, and our team that we're following starts in 23rd position.
When you're on the start line of a race as an individual, you know, you really are there as a solo person doing your own thing. But when you're on the start line of an adventure race, you know, you feel like you're part of something bigger. Look after each other out there, have a good one. Yeah.
What are we actually doing here?
An expedition race is just like your whole life on fast forward, because you go through the same highs and the same lows and the same problems and same challenges, but it all happens in the space of a week.
Most average Joe blogs after 8 hours or so would say, well, I've had enough, get me out of here. But the adventure racers, that's what sets them apart. The tougher it becomes, the more determined they become.
One thing that's really important to me as team captain is just being composed and keeping calm and cool, really, and just start looking for solutions. Go, okay, so we've had this problem, whatever it may be, and some of the problems we've had over the years have been quite significant ones. But it's like, it's adventure racing. That's what we're out here for. Part of it is overcoming this and the ability to accept things and change and adjust and adapt.
There's no checkpoint, is there? Yes, it's supposed to be here. There should be an official from the race. I wonder what it is. Is this the checkpoint?
Yes.
Oh, for f***'s sake. Way to hide. You're not in the cabin where like it says. We want to start our sleep car. This is f***ing bull.
It's me.
Yeah, number 6.
Yeah, where's the 4 guys?
Yeah. We're all right here.
And number 1.
Pissed me off enough.
How do I write? I'm writing. Which team?
6.
And 1.
This is the most I've ever come across.
You got your card in there? Yeah, you got my sleep card.
Well, this is the cabin though, isn't it?
No, not even
we're waiting. We're waiting? Yes. Okay. And same with 1.
I've been suffering. Yeah. Struggling. The boys have been good. They've been carrying my pack. Sorry. It hasn't been much fun. I don't know if it's the ascent or just the after effects of a hot day. Either or. It's a bit stink. There's definitely some sort of strange appeal of actually going into those dark places and suffering a bit, and it's interesting seeing how you react and really testing yourself. I didn't expect to be doing this race at all. It wasn't on the radar in the slightest, but the girl who was in the team had an accident and broke her ankle probably about 7 or 8 weeks ago now. So Nathan contacted me and asked if I'd be available, and at that point there was about 6 weeks to go, and things had just sort of fallen into place. But it's not an ideal build-up. It's really condensed, having 6 weeks to train and to come on board with this really successful team. It's a little bit intimidating, I think, stepping into that.
Fleur is so strong, there was never any doubt in my mind that she would be fine. She's also extremely understated and modest, so she wouldn't tell you that. 6 to 8 weeks, it's a really short time frame. To get kayaking fit and biking fit in that space of time was a pretty big ask.
As far as I was concerned, I'd retired. I didn't envisage ever doing another race, and it wasn't really on the radar at all. But I got an email from Nathan saying, "Are you interested in doing any more AR?" I wouldn't just join any team at the last minute. There's got to be the right circumstances and the right people. And I think I know from having seen him in other races and things that he's a really strong leader. And he's got a lot of experience at looking after people on his team. So that was a big draw card that I sort of knew I'd be in good hands. Adventure racing is intense sport. We're out there for
100 or so hours. We basically live together 24/7, travel together, sleep together, and 4 of us crammed into a 2-person tent, whatever it might be. My teammates have carried me through races or parts of races before, and they know that I've done that for them.
I think a key thing is not to sort of think that you've got a specific task, but to always be thinking about what can I do to make the team work a bit better or to help this team out.
Thanks, Stu.
Am I doing everything I can be doing at the moment to make sure we're getting a good result?
Are we good to go now?
You do have to, put the team before self, and you need to be willing to essentially, work hard for the team or even hurt for the team. There's no point when there's 4 of you out there for one person to be feeling absolutely amazing and great and one person to be struggling. So yesterday, Chris went through a bit of a bad patch, and then I carried quite a bit of his gear for a while. He came right, and then my knee started giving me a lot of trouble last night, so he's taken quite a lot of my gear. He's still got it, actually.
Care of the team is important. It's really in the interest of the team to make sure that everyone is keeping up. If you aren't looking after one another, it's easy for one person to sort of drop out. I suppose on paper it might look like if everyone looks after themselves individually and goes as fast as they can, the team will go fast, but in reality that doesn't really happen like that. I don't know, I've been guilty of it, thinking I'm feeling good, at least I'm not the person who's out the back of the team and suffering at the moment, and which is the wrong mentality. It should be, if someone is suffering, you help them, you don't feel thankful you're not that person and think, at least I'm doing it right at the moment and I'm not slowing the team down.
It's important for us just to be doing our best at any given time and working hard for the team. Even through the hard times, just trying to enjoy those and just focus on getting through the challenge that's in front of you. It's a good test. This is a brutal stage. They don't really come any harder than this, really.
Their adventure isn't about summiting a mountain and taking in a view. Their adventure is about pushing themselves as far as they can for the sake of the team and the common goal. They're getting something that those of us who are doing that and then getting in our car and driving home won't get to see.
Yeah, that's all right. We can download it and show them later. We'll show you after the race.
They get to know what it's like to go down that mountain and go to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and do it again when they don't feel like it. And that brings about a whole new level of adventure and a whole new level of appreciation.
Another 30 odd hours to go. and then we keep walking in the background. So.
Well, it's midday, day 3 now, so that first stage 1 was pretty brutal. Just on our feet for so long, and the heat, and it was unrelenting. We've done one downriver paddle, one upriver paddle, and then dropping down another river, which I'm really excited about. I think today's a day for being in the water. Yeah, that was really fun. There's an awesome river up there. It's so stunning. It's the sort of canyons that you see this place being advertised for, the steep walled canyons and just lush green vegetation and beautiful water. That was really cool. Actually, there's another stage like that.
Seeing these guys coming into transition, they just gel as one. The efficiency is just mind-blowing. Everybody knows what their contribution is to this bigger goal. There's no concept of individuals. And that comes from really spending a lot of time together and like engraving that goal into a culture of this is who we are, this is not what we do.
Yeah, so we need to have your food for stage 3 and stage 4.
Yeah, you should.
Even the top teams, and I think we forget that, also get blisters, also really suffer, but they never go slower. Just like, oh, they are human, but they just kind of get back to being human after the race because of the bigger goal.
Cinnamon have just figured out that they're in fact coming up one of Reunion's most famous downhill mountain bikes.
Adventure racing is a hard sport, and there's periods out there that are difficult, and you suffer and you hurt and you're tired, and I think it's really important throughout those times that you are in a team that's really supportive and that you can communicate well with and that you can connect with.
Where's some water? Is there water over there?
I used to be a lead navigator, and Stu's also a lead navigator, but Stu will agree that Chris is the top navigator probably in the world. So if we're going to be sensible and not get our egos involved in things, we want our team to get the best possible result and play to our strengths. So therefore, we all agree that Chris is the best person to be doing the navigation.
But I mean, given the time, I kind of feel you're right. We should stop now.
I reckon. Yeah, I reckon we've done a good. We've got time to burn to us to use it. Now's a good time. It's midnight. Yeah, we've always been so committed to being highly functional and performing that I think people have been very, very good at just putting the team first, really, and going. The team is bigger than the individual. Do you experience things with your teammates out there? It's humbling.
In an adventure race, no matter how prepared you are or how elite you are, anything can go wrong.
And we see that time and again when even the world's most elite athletes have to withdraw from these races because of injury or other unforeseen challenges.
We had to pull out of the race, withdraw from the race because of an injury to John's knee. And this is one of the broad depths of adventure racing emotions that you have to go through, and it's a completely new one for us.
We from Team Chadwick, it's Craig, my partner in crime, I'm Reino, and unfortunately we had to pull out because our female team member hurt her arm earlier today, so we're just kind of chilling and just kind of mentally trying to work through what happened the last couple of hours.
You can't believe how profound it is and what a profound thing it is to go through, to withdraw from a race. It's as hard as it is being broken on an adventure race. We've all been through that. As hard as it is pushing through, withdrawing from a race takes you to places worse than that. And we're busy going through that whole process of coming to terms with it at the moment.
If I do individual trail running, it's can I give more? Where in adventure racing is more a case of I have to give more because it's not just about me. If one team member suffers, we all suffer. If one team member feels well, we all share in that. It's difficult for people from the outside to understand that. And I think the greatest thing is we're not a top-ranked team in the world, but it doesn't change the dynamics of a team. Some people are talented or more gifted athletically, that's great. But I think from the last team to the first team in this race, all of them to some extent will have that dynamic, and I think that's what makes the community such a cool place to be part of. So, yeah, that's team sport for us.
Oh, we want rain. We want it to rain.
People race because they love it, but it's a strange kind of love, I think, because, you know, it's a hard sport and it's not always fun. There's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of pain, there's sleep deprivation, it's time-consuming, expensive, but it's just sort of strangely addictive, and the harder it is, the more people seem to love it and the more they want to do it and get into it.
I've always struggled with normality. If someone said to me, "You're a real normal guy," you know, I'd probably be crushed. And I think event racing is enough of a break from normality to kind of just say to myself, "Yeah, no, I'm not normal," and I like that. You know, I like that. This is kind of the business end of the race. You know, it's day 4 in a 5-day race, so it's good. I mean, it's a challenging course, you know, but we didn't come here for something easy. You know, when you do these sort of things, it puts a bit of perspective on things as well. You know, just the things you thought were pretty hard at home don't really stack up to a hard day out of venture racing, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit love-hate, the adventure racing. It certainly teaches you a lot about what you can do and what you're capable of. I mean, adventure racing teaches you can go a lot further than you think you can.
Although you can do well as a team of just individuals, you definitely can do a lot better if you race well as a team.
In that last transition, it was still just, you know, let's do what we've got to do and carry on and get this thing done. We'd packed up our pack crafts. We were like a kilometre from the finish line, you know, in the lead, and Nathan said something to me about sort of savouring the experience, and then you guys gave me a bit of a pep talk about how I had to jump to cross the finish line because I had to maintain the tradition of the team.
Yeah.
You do this? How's it been for you?
Oh, it's been a great experience. You know, it's definitely been hard. There's been a few times when I've on course out there, I definitely knew that you know, it's been a couple of years since I've been racing at their level. Like, I just didn't feel as prepared or perhaps as strong as I have in the past, and maybe that'll never happen for me again. But no, it was awesome. It's satisfying to, you know, to put a bit of work in the training and to be able to come here and keep up with the team really, and yeah, get another one. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. You guys must feel like you need some sleep. Yeah. It was a late night. We're sorry we're so late.
Thank you so much.
That's great. That's cool.
I think New Zealand is really the home of adventure racing, and the sport started here, and New Zealanders from day one have been doing extremely well. The athletes that came before us set the tone. They went out there and they won the major races, and that we've sort of come through and we're carrying the baton.
this team has demonstrated that the journey is as important as the destination. And I think that really is something that teaches us a lot. And I think a big legacy of what Nathan and his team have done is show that a team of people who want to be together, who are friends, who are willing to care for each other and push themselves hard, can accomplish great things. And I think we could use a little bit more of that.
You know, in our team, I'd say we've got a really high level of trust. And I think that's just a result of having shared a lot of, you know, intense experiences. Your friendships develop a lot stronger. You see the true people underneath who they are, because you see them having absolute highs and absolute lows. We've had so many of those experiences that, you know, there is a high level of trust, but probably more than that, there's also a high level of respect for each other, because we've seen what people are prepared to do for the team.
In silence, with blindness, through darkness, I'll walk with you. When time's up, when they find us, I promise I'll be with you. I signed up and I've made my mind up. I'll stick with you, won't slow down, make no doubt. I'll hold out right here with you. I won't give up. I will stand.